So Pam Bondi is still testifying. I will bring you some of that clown show, like any of it matters. Women being sexually abused regarding Jeffrey Epstein, and the only thing these people care about is how they can use it politically. It's just too dopey. Although there's something to be said for what was redacted and what wasn't. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Let's go do some radio. The jobs report is in, and the jobs report tells a story. U.S. payrolls rose by 130,000 in the month of January. Tony Katz Today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. The expectation, I believe, was what, 70,000? Oh, I'm sorry. The expectation was 55,000, which means the expectation was beaten by 70,000 jobs. Now, I had Dr. Matt Will, the economist at University of Indianapolis, do a little breakdown for me. Healthcare is up by 123,000. Not necessarily a great thing, but government is down 42,000. And that is spectacular. The reduction in government jobs is incredible. Now, you've heard me say this before. The truth is government can't create a job. Government can only create work. These are the facts. But when government is down and government is not the employer, it means the private sector is, and that's the much better telltale of what it is that an economy is dealing with and is experiencing. Manufacturing is flat, but construction is up 33,000. Does that mean we're going to start seeing home sales again? Is that what we're going to look at? We're going to start seeing, and maybe this is because of weather, right? The weather's starting to warm up. Now we're going to start seeing more homes. Okay, well, that's fine. But 130,000 is a very, very nice number. 130,000 is the kind of number that the Trump administration should be yelling from the rooftops. It goes along with the story about violent crime. You may not have seen this story about violent crime and how violent crime has plummeted across major cities. This was Axios. Violent crime plummets across major U.S. cities. Now, the Trump administration had actually put out a correction, and it says, thanks to Trump, violent crime has gone down in these cities. When Axios, that's where this story comes from, put this out at first, when they first put out this story, they didn't say it like this. When they posted it on their social media feed, they posted it on the Twitter X. Here's exactly what it said. It said, crime plunges in major cities despite Trump's crackdown rhetoric. What in the world is that? Despite his crackdown rhetoric? You mean saying that we're going to do something about crime and then going into cities like Washington, D.C. and Memphis and doing something about crime and letting everybody know that we're serious about putting an end to the madness? Being proactive, engaging in prosecutions and pushing prosecutors in cities to actually do their job? Crackdown rhetoric. I mean, that's just some silly stuff right there. But the numbers are quite incredible. The numbers really are something when you see how much they've come down. And there's a great graph that shares this with you. Orlando, Florida, down 58.3%. Tampa, Florida, down 52.8%. Prince George's County in Maryland, down 40%, 40.6%. Seattle, down 36.2%. Albuquerque, down 34.3%. It got a lot easier in Albuquerque after Walter White died. And then Baltimore, down 31.4%. Baltimore, baby. These are good things. And the Trump administration should be proactive in discussing them, just like they should be proactive in discussing what happened with these jobs numbers. Can they revise down? Absolutely, they can revise down. We have been through this. We have seen this before, that these jobs numbers can be revised down. We saw this certainly with the Biden administration every single month. Every single month. Now, there is something else kind of interesting about these jobs numbers, is the unemployment rate went down to 4.3%. The forecast was predicting staying at 4.4%. And sometimes the unemployment number, and this was true under Biden as well, is a little bit of an awkward reading. And the awkward reading involves whether or not people have even tried for a job. Have they given up on getting a job? Right? That's the question before us. Has anybody had people gotten into the workforce or dropped out of the workforce? And therefore that can change the number, but doesn't necessarily mean who is unemployed and who isn't, which is the issue. But when you are given this gift, you are going to share this gift. And part of the gift is realizing that the government hiring is down. That is great news. We are never better off when government is growing. And one of the ways sometimes the numbers get manipulated is to say, well, we created jobs, and then not note and not share how the government jobs went up. This hasn't seen, at least of now, right, midday, some crazy effect on the market. Actually, the Dow and the NASDAQ down. Okay. Lots of other things can affect lots of other things. But if the story is heading into a midterm, hey, we're growing, hey, we're building, hey, we're increasing, hey, we're getting out of the Biden mess and morass. I mean, I was very happy to see President Trump the other day. He's on with Larry Kudlow on Fox Business, and he's, I think, having the absolutely right conversation.
Start with Dow 50,000. Congratulations with America. That was your Truth Social. The economy is hitting on all cylinders. Most of the experts have been completely wrong about it. So as you look at this thing, it's the midterm elections and so forth. How good a year is it going to be, 2026?
Well, I think it's going to be great. When you say 50,000, and by the way, S&P 7,000, which
Yes.
is, I guess, almost the equivalent, I think.
It's a huge number.
When you think about it, right? And I remember when I first won, they said, if he gets the Dow up to 50,000 by the end of his fourth year, he will have done miracles. And we're at the end of the first year. So when you think about it, that's great. And the S&P, the same thing. And everything else. I mean, everything's going great. We inherited a total mess from Biden, and not only the borders, but the economy, the inflation. The inflation was the worst ever in history. They say 48 years, but basically ever in history. And prices were high, and you don't hear them use the word affordability anymore. They can't use it because we brought the prices down.
Hold on a second. Even your White House is talking about mortgage affordability. So people still use the term affordability, right? That's not, I'm exhausted by the terminology. But this is the argument, right? This is where President Trump should be. We inherited the mess. We got this, we got that, and here's what we're doing. This is the right, proper, smart methodology. This is how you get people to your side. You're going to hear me talk about this again and again and again. This is how you get people to your side. by saying, here's what we were dealing with, here's what we have done about it, here is the tangible result, and soon you will feel it. Now, it's easier when you can say, and look, there's the check, right? Oh, look, there, you're already feeling it, you're already experiencing it. Give people something to look to, something to hope to. It matters greatly. On these jobs numbers, that's what it does. It is all about the psychology of how you think things are going. How you think things are going. And this has been a conversation that's going everywhere. Over there at News Nation, I appreciated the shout out from Leland Dirt. He's got Bill O'Reilly on the show, who I've never filled in for his full show. He does these vignettes that play across the country. I have filled in there before. Happy to do it. And Bill was on the show, and Leland Vittert is talking about this same subject about how do you engage in economic conversation of value.
To the No Spin News, BillO'Reilly.com, author of Confronting Evil, Assessing the Worst of the Worst. Bill, a good buddy of mine, Tony Katz, radio host out in Indianapolis, used to always say that Trump always wins. First rule of Trump. How does Trump get a win right now to turn the feeling in the country around?
Now, my conversation is the first rule of Trumpism is Trump wins. This goes back to 2017. There are two rules of Trumpism. The first rule of Trumpism is Trump wins. The second rule of Trumpism is that a deal can always be made as long as it adheres to the first rule of Trumpism. And we have been having this conversation for, well, that's 2017 and it's 2026, 9,000 years. But it's true. It's 1,000% true. Everything is about how he can create the deal that gives him the win. I thought that Bill O'Reilly's answer was interesting.
Well, I think he's counting on the tax refunds to really gin up the economy. That would be number one. Number two, the administration believes that Iran and Cuba will fall. Now, it is true that most Americans don't vote foreign policy. The third thing is that the Trump administration has to figure out how to bring down insurance costs. Insurance, that's the main reason that working people are finding themselves short of cash. And if you live in a high tax state like New York, where I am, you're being taxed up to here, and then you got to pay these enormous insurance costs, and it dwarfs food. And you're looking around after the month and going, where is the money going? Well, it's going to insurance costs, and it's going to taxes. And people are getting discouraged, and that's the poll you just cited.
So, first things first, Trump is depending on the one big beautiful bill and giant tax refunds to make people feel good. Now, it's true, they'll get a check and they'll feel good. It's not as good as costs going down, which is what he hits third, pointing to a problem that if it can be addressed and attacked, that leads to victory. That's correct. Now, he's also right. Iran and Cuba falling, people don't usually vote on foreign policy. However, ending the Islamic threat and the terrorist threat of Iran, putting an end to communism in what should be the Pearl of the Caribbean, and actually having ourselves a relationship with Cuba. Right now, there's a lot of conversation about Cuba because of Venezuela, of Maduro going down and the oil not being in the hands of these despots. Well, they're not getting their oil. Now they can't do refueling. They can't do this. They can't do that. Don't ask me to feel bad for the Cubans. No. Let's see the it's not Castro's anymore, but let's see that group of commies go. Let's see a free Cuba. I'll help them all I can. I will be visiting Cuba so quickly, I don't know what to say. I will be leading tours to talk cigars in Cuba. I can't wait. Let the commies fall. It will have a level of effect. But here's what's coming, people. Here's the economic help that's on its way. And here is a subject, O'Reilly talking about insurance and how we need to bring it down. Here's what we're going to do. Just like we've done with drug prices, we'll do this, we'll do this, and we'll do this. And here's what we're doing over here and over there. And it might not be insurance costs because it might be this subject or that subject. Correct? Correct. And these jobs numbers help tell the story that Trump's plan is working. Now, is it working perfectly? But do they get to point to some things and say, not bad, huh? Yeah, they do. This jobs report is not great for Democrats. The overall economy not being perfect is what they're hoping on. It's what they're counting on. Couple more reports like this, couple more moves like this in manufacturing and other places. As we see the manufacturing numbers up, even if the manufacturing hiring was flat. It's good stuff for the Trump administration going into the midterms. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back. Sorry, just writing something down right here. What's his name? I'm forgetting his name. There it is. Mark Kelly is angry that they tried to get an indictment on him via grand jury. I did not know they were trying to do that. I didn't think that was the right way to go. What Mark Kelly and Alyssa Slotkin did was disgusting, and I'm not going to listen to anybody tell me that Mark Kelly is some kind of hero. Won't have it. Won't put up with it. Not for a moment. By the way, just for everybody watching, we're not back with the radio show yet. That will come in about another minute and a half. Tony Katz, good to be with you. I spent a couple weeks seeing if playing around with the trolls was interesting or good. If it would make good radio, it would be good content, and the answer is no. It really isn't. It really is. So you've seen me engage in a lot of deletion of these people. Yeah, I have no respect for them. I have no thoughts to them. These people who are only interested in the teardown, not interested. Not interested in the slightest. So you're gonna see me just move those people right out. I don't care if they like it. I don't care what they say. It means zero. Just wanted to let you know that I'm not engaging with those conversations like I was. We looked at it. It was like, yeah, it's not great. It's not great at all. Congressman Andre Carson is the representative of the 7th District of Indiana. And he is someone who refuses to condemn Louis Farrakhan. He is someone who refers to Rashida Tlaib as his sister. Andre Carson, Congressman Carson, has very, very bad judgment and character. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. He always has. I have been through this repeatedly. He is someone who tries to fly under the radar and has his seat in Congress because his grandmother had this seat, and it's become a family business. And it is also true, knowing this place as I do, because this is where I live, the Republican Party refuses to put any money to run someone against them and to get aggressive. There are more Democrats right now primarying him this year than we have strong Republican candidates going against him. I have had members of the Republican Party say to me, well, we can't put money in every race. Then you should not be running a party. Republicans who won't run in every race are not people we need. But he writes there on Twitter X, let's be clear, non-citizen voting is already illegal. The SAVE Act doesn't fix a real problem. It creates new barriers by forcing Americans to present a passport or birth certificate in person just to register or update their registration. We should be expanding voting access, not creating more unnecessary hoops to participate in democracy. I oppose this bill. That is a ridiculous statement. You have to prove who you are. Why shouldn't you, when registering to vote or updating your registration, why shouldn't you bring an ID? Where I don't need an ID is to buy Sudafed. I just want to get rid of the cold. That's not what some government perfunctories have decided. This is the conversation that keeps coming up when they bring up their objections to the SAVE Act. They object to the idea of voter ID. They want the opportunity to cheat, and I believe that includes Congressman Andre Carson. Because his argument is it's a barrier to bring your birth certificate. At that moment, how do we not all just start drinking? It's a barrier to bring your birth certificate or passport. No, it's not. No, it's not. If it's a barrier to bring these things, then it's always a barrier to bring these things, and no one can require these things of me. It's a serious, serious barrier. It's an imposition and a barrier to ask me for my social security number on every single document. Never mind intrusive and abusive. And I was told that with a social security number, it wouldn't be used to track me. Ha, 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 ha. Can I get the loan without the social security number? Can I do this? Can I do that? Can I do the other? Can I simply function in the United States without showing my papers? Giving my number? Congressman Carson, you don't have an argument. Your team should be embarrassed to work for you. The SAVE Act should pass, and you should care enough about American elections to be in favor of it. But you don't want American elections. You want the opportunity for fraud. We see you, Congressman Andre Carson. I'm Tony Katz. God, it's gross. Then there is what happened with the Super Bowl numbers. This is the data as we know it right now. It's interesting data. Let me get a little bit more in there. See that? See that yellow circle? You know what that is? That's halftime. Huh. Now, the question before us is, show me other halftime shows, and do you see this this bit of a bowl? Oh, Tony, it was the greatest halftime show in the history of the world. Sure, whatever you say. I don't. If that's what people need, knock yourselves out. I don't want to sit here and fight with you. I just don't care that much. If you think the show is great, I'm not going to change your mind. If you think the show is terrible, I'm not going to change your mind. Also, thanks to everyone who participated in this. And thanks to everyone who's a part of what we do. You know, I look forward to making this show be able to have the same kind of numbers as the morning show. But it was very, very nice. Barrett Media in their polling of program directors and radio professionals. My morning show in Indianapolis was rated the top morning show in America. That is very cool. This is the second year in a row that we've done that. So producer Carl, my program director David Wood, my executive producer Matt Hiblin, Andrea Carr, the Care, I always pronounce it wrong. The entire team in Urban One, everyone has been a part of this. Even producer Landon gets a kudos. It's very cool. It's very cool and very much appreciated. Glad that we were able to do it. And I look forward to what's next. I look forward to doing that with this show. It is a long road. Oh, absolutely a long road. Not an easy time slot, not an easy anything, but we're in it. We're gonna keep fighting. No worries about a new contract. No, I am well in my new contract. My new contract was set in September. So that's that. Let's see. What did I miss? Did I miss anything? Good. 1 minute till we come back. Excellent stuff. Oh, I do have this with Katie Kurt. Oh, I wasn't going to do ICE right now. I could do ICE right now, and I could do Bondi and Lutnick in the second hour. Was that better? That's better. That is better. Excellent, Smithers. Coming back to the radio show. Thought it was a weird headline where Governor Tim Walz said that he expects the crackdown, the immigration crackdown, will end in days. What do you mean it's going to end in days? Why would I believe this? Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. Live streaming on YouTube. Check it out for yourself. Just go to Tony Katz and subscribe. Go to TonyKatz.com and find everything that I do and get your tickets for February 28th. Tickets.TonyKatz.com. Trump 1 year and 1 month later. The bourbon, the food. If the weather's nice, we're doing cigars. This is all happening. Tickets.TonyKatz.com. It's going to be an incredible night. Put on the red tie. Come enjoy the party with me. 10,000%. Going to be amazing. But it was a Newsmax headline. Governor Walz, Fed's immigration crackdown in Minnesota may end in days. Why would I believe this? Why would I believe that it will end? Are they done? I mean, if they're done, it can end. You mean once Minnesota and once the city of Minneapolis decided not to be ridiculous freaks, but rather work with Immigrations and Customs Enforcement to remove illegal immigrants, everything got easy and everything was handled? Notice no one's talking about it right now. No one's talking about it. No one's talking about violent this or that. No one's talking about the paid agitators, the violent people attacking ICE. No one's talking about anything because local law enforcement decided to get involved, because the mayor, Jacob Frey, the governor, Tim Walz, decided, hey, instead of us having to deal with lawsuits or other issues, we better just go along with this. In the chat room, someone argued, hey, maybe Walz just ran out of money to pay the protesters, the demonstrators. I don't think it was Walz paying them. I think that there are others paying them. Maybe Walz realized that if I help here, maybe there won't be so much an attack or an investigation of me and what happened with the Somali daycare centers. Oh, I'm sorry. Were we supposed to forget about that? The fraud that is the home health care centers happening not just in Minneapolis, but all around the country, costing Americans billions. I want to remind everybody that the fraud that we're seeing across the country, if we had that money, we could have a home for every homeless veteran in the United States of America. Which one is more important? Which one? I could show you a post from Representative Ilhan Omar talking about, well, how would I describe this? She's basically calling for the death of the president. She has no issue with the fraud. Everything is Trump this, Trump that, Trump the other. Listen, Representative Ilhan Omar is disgusting, but I never mind a Jew hater. But if you have been following her closely, what you have seen is that she has gotten more and more angry, more and more vicious. Maybe people looking at how she ended up with $30 million doesn't make her happy. Maybe she's feeling some pressure. Maybe it's all a part of the same group involved in this fraud and this grift on the American people. There are Americans involved. There are non-Americans involved. I want those who are Americans involved going to jail, and I want those who are not Americans to be deported. And I want to remind everybody that every single dollar spent on fraud could be spent on housing homeless veterans. You don't want to use homeless veterans? Every dollar that is wasted in this fraud for these abusers, these un-American zealots, it could be used to pay the debt of nurses, and we could have more nurses in the United States. Or we can just pay down debt in toto. But I'm okay with the other two things as well. These people are fraudsters, and it absolutely needs to be addressed. And ICE needs to keep doing its job. Now, if you tell me that ICE is done with it, and now we can do this another way, I'll say to you, okay, let's keep doing it. We'll do it another way. ICE isn't stopping. As a matter of fact, word on the street is that ICE has confirmed it will be at 2026 World Cup matches, which people are going to scream and yell that this is racism and this is bigotry and how dare you. You're in the country illegally. You're in the country illegally. What makes you think you get a pass just because you want to go see Uruguay in the World Cup? That's insane. You're in the country illegally. You're in the country illegally. The law doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. But these people will always have a reason for why you shouldn't be enforcing the law. And I think what is clear and what is important is that we ignore those people and we keep arresting the people who have violated the law. This leads to a very interesting conversation that took place between Rand Paul, the senator, and Katie Couric. And I bring it up because it was a conversation that has came yesterday and the day before, this new kind of wordplay, this new silly spin. I saw this in relation, for example, to the SAVE Act and how you have to have a voter ID, as we were discussing earlier. And USA Today put out a story that if the SAVE Act passes, it will be harder for married women to vote. And then my brain hurt from the stupidity. I mean, we are in the silly season. What an ignorant, ignorant statement. I believe my response on the Twitter, on the X was, we really are scraping the barrel here, aren't we? We're looking for anything, anywhere, any reason at all where we could say, oh, this is why we can't have voter ID. That argument is actually more pathetic than Congressman Andre Carson's argument, which is pathetic. But then came the other spin, which was about the arrests made by ICE. And it started with, and we had shared it here, there's this pie chart. And it was Benjamin Weingarten who I saw it from. And here it is. I actually have it right here. And this was the original chart that I saw. And this chart says nearly 60% of those who were taken into custody over the past year had pending criminal charges or convictions, but most were not for violent offenses. Nearly 40% of those arrested by ICE did not have any criminal record at all. So 6 out of 10 had some criminal record, and that's a problem? Okay, let's get rid of these people. Well, then what they started doing is they started really focusing on this idea of violent offenses. Oh my gosh, only 14% of people who have been picked up by ICE were guilty of violent offenses. I'm sorry. Have we come to a definition on violent offenses? If I don't pay my taxes, I don't think it's a violent offense. Yet the IRS will still come at me with guns, and they will still take my money, and they will still garnish my wages. It wasn't a violent offense. Violent offenses. This is now the new little caveat. This is the silly season. This is what they're trying to trip people up on. From yesterday's press conference with Caroline Leavitt.
CBS report floating around. There's a lot of liberal talking heads and pundits and Democrat elected politicians who think that this single story and these statistics and the way they are painted is somehow a shot at this administration. It is not. And let me correct the record. Number one, the Trump administration has been clear from day one that any illegal alien present in this country is subject to deportation. However, the priority, of course, is going after the convicted criminals, the worst of the worst, the murderers, the pedophiles, the rapists in this country. Interestingly, in the CBS story, what the Democrat talking heads on television are not saying is this line. Nearly 60% of ICE arrestees over the past year had criminal charges or convictions. And among that population, the majority of the criminal charges or convictions are for nonviolent crimes. Oh, well, what are nonviolent crimes, you ask? This has coincided with what DHS has been saying all along, that approximately 70% of illegal aliens arrested under President Trump have pending criminal charges and or prior convictions. And these so-called nonviolent crimes, drug trafficking, distribution of child porn, burglary, fraud, DUI, embezzlement, solicitation of a minor, and human smuggling.
Just to name a few. And this is why it's silly season. The left is trying to do anything they can to keep people here illegally from being deported. Why do they want people here illegally? Well, that's about voting. They want to count them in the census so they can be counted, and therefore they can get their apportionment so they can have control in the House. That's it. That's everything. They want them to be able to vote so they can win local elections. That's it. They want power. They don't care about the law. They're liars. And this got us into a conversation between Rand Paul and Katie Couric. And I don't normally do this, but I'm taking a look at time. Stay right there. I'll bring you that when we come back. Keep it here. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. So this is a long comment here. If the Epstein files just dumped truly confirms an actual child butchering ring in the world, then nothing else going on in the world matters more than hunting all members of the ring down and bringing them to justice. I do not know nor care who needs waterboarding to get it done. The whole ring needs exterminated. It should start with the one talking about in the Epstein files and going from there. This needs to be talked about immediately. So, we have been on this show. You might not know us, Corey. Maybe you do. Thanks for being here. We have been in favor of the release of the Epstein files since day one. We believe here, I believe, that the Trump administration was wrong to try and downplay it. Everything that you saw with Pam Bondi today was such absolute made-for-TV nonsense, clown show ridiculousness. I put forth to you that there is not a person who was on part of the House Judiciary hearing today who actually cares about these kids at all and what happened to them, doesn't care about survivors, women who were abused. Absolutely not. They care how this works politically, and that is all they care about. They don't give a damn. But to your point, Corey, I think we should give a damn. I think we do need to go after who is abusing children. Do I believe everything that was written? I don't know. I don't know if where I'm at with everything yet. The abuse of children cannot be accepted. And we need to go after these people. We need to charge these people. And if found guilty, we need to jail these people. Yes. I don't care about their last name. I don't care about their money. I don't care about their nation. Nothing. Which is going to bring us into a conversation about Howard Lutnick, who my take right now is I don't think Lutnick did anything illegal. I don't think he was involved in the abuse of children. But you told people that you weren't engaged in conversations with Jeffrey Epstein, and then you and your kids and your wife and the nannies stopped by the island to have lunch. I always thought Lutnick would be the first guy to go as a sacrificial lamb from the Trump administration because he's just a little wacky and out there. Nope. It'll be for other reasons. That I'll get to in the second hour. All right? Hang loose, guys. I was discussing the silly season that was taking place with the political left when it comes to immigration and customs enforcement. Look at the people that they're picking up. Well, you know, only 14% of them are guilty of violent crimes. What you consider a violent crime and what Americans would consider a violent crime are two very different things. And dear Lord, the things that you're willing to accept, the spin that you'll engage in to try and protect illegal immigrants over citizens, don't you know you're gross? Because America has spoken. Republicans, conservatives, independents, moderates, the politically agnostic, they think you're freaking gross and they think you're weird because you are. Tony Katz today, good to be with you. And then I came across a good example of this. Katie Couric speaking with Senator Rand Paul. Now, I don't think there's any cursing in this, producer Landon, but just in case Katie Couric goes on a bender, finger on the dump button, okay? Excellent.
Less than 14% of nearly 400,000 immigrants arrested by ICE in President Trump's first year back in the White House had charges or convictions for violent criminal offenses, according to an internal Department of Homeland Security document obtained by CBS News. So isn't all this talk about ridding the country of violent criminals a massive overstatement? If less than 14%, again, of the 400,000 immigrants being arrested are had charges or convictions for violent criminal offenses.
I told you, this is the silly season. This is the silly spin on this story. They want to. They don't know what a violent offense is, but they want to use the CBS reporting, and CBS shows it, so therefore it's a total failure. Senator Rand Paul, would you please?
Well, I think the facts make a difference, and so that's one of the questions we will ask. And so when you come to Minneapolis, if they have a policy that says, oh, we're not going to turn over from our jails nonviolent prisoners, people who are, I don't know why you're in prison if you're nonviolent, but maybe you have a drug crime that's a nonviolent.
I think there are plenty of nonviolent people in prisons.
But the thing is that's not their policy. Their policy is we will turn no one over. So you can be, you beat somebody half to death, you get an assault charge, and you're in jail for a couple years, and somehow you're getting out on parole, and you're not going to be turned over and you're illegal. I've got a problem with that, and so do probably most independents and Democrats. But that's what we have to ascertain. And the thing is that's not the policy of Mayor Fry. He did not come forward and say, we're not going to turn over nonviolent prisoners. He just simply said, we're not going to cooperate at all. And if you do cooperate, and this is Ellison's edict to them, it's actually against the law for you to cooperate. So if you happen to have a Republican county and a Republican judge who wants to turn over people in jail once their term has expired to be deported, they've actually made that illegal. And so we should have a debate in our country whether that's advisable. And I think most people are in the middle. I think most people actually hate what the use of force that they saw with Alexander Preddy. But I think if you ask them, if a guy's committed rape and he's in prison and he's going to get out, do you want him deported? I think people would say, hell yes, he ought to be deported.
Absolutely. 100%. But Senator Paul goes a little further.
Having said that, though, what about the 14%? Such a low percentage of 400,000 people.
If your daughter gets raped by the guy that gets back out and he's one of the 14%, I don't think you're going to quibble about whether it's 14 or 64.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you put Katie Couric in her place. How you explain to the left that your argument is bunk. That going and arresting the people who are here legally is a value and something we should continue to do. And if only 14% are involved in rape, I would like to see those people out of the country, please. Why are you, the political left, trying to protect them? That's Senator Rand Paul for the win. Oh, I don't agree with everything. But that was how you answer it. What's the future of Howard Lutnick, Commerce Secretary? This all has to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, and the clown show that was Pam Bondi in front of the House Judiciary. I mean, everybody. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz today. Nutty. Absolutely nutty stuff. Guys, here's what's going on. Can I tell you? I don't know how I'm going to fix this. It's the second day in a row that it shows that I'm connected to the Twitter account, but I'm not. Very interesting. So we're going to take a look at that. We are in the commercial break right now, so we will take the radio break. So we'll take the break right now. Smoke them if you got them. Hang loose. It is cool. We are going to, I'll share with you some little snippets from Bondi. It's all nonsense. It's all just nonsense. No, I don't know if anybody cares that children were abused. I don't think they care that names were not redacted when they should have been. I just don't. I think it's okay to ask some questions about it. I think it's okay to wonder why certain things weren't redacted before they were released, which is why I opposed the discharge petition. But I think the political left cares about these families? No. And yes, I do have an update on the El Paso airport, which is back open. It's a really interesting story. Really interesting story. I will have that coming up as well. Smoke them if you got them. Hang loose, guys. Kick back, relax, and we'll take the radio commercial break. We'll take the break here. We'll be back in a few. Welcome back, guys. Tony Katz today. Hold on a second, I got to respond to this. Sorry about that. Had to respond. So we have a lot to get to. Pam Bondi, I think, is she done on the Hill? Look, you can't get me to be impressed with Pam Bondi. She looks ridiculous. Democrats always look ridiculous. She looks ridiculous. I don't want to be told that she's somehow great. Far from it. That is time for replacement. Just good gosh, nutty. So I've got that, but I also have this story about Lutnick and what the future is there. What is the future for Howard Lutnick? The Commerce Secretary saying he visited Epstein's Island. I'll have that story as well. I've got some stuff on the Super Bowl. Oh, don't worry. You'll like it. I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz Today. This is hour 2. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's go do some work.
The Epstein files. More than 500 attorneys and reviewers spent thousands of hours painstakingly reviewing millions of pages to comply with Congress's law. We've released more than 3 million pages, including 180,000 images, all to the public, while doing our very best in the time frame allotted by the legislation to protect victims. And if you brought us a victim's name that was inadvertently released, we immediately redacted it. All members of Congress, as you know, are invited to visit DOJ to see for yourselves. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the Epstein survivors who are here today. I'm a career prosecutor, and despite what the ranking member said, I have spent my entire career fighting for victims, and I will continue to do so. I am deeply sorry for what any victim has been through, especially as a result of that monster.
Now, I think that she truly feels that way. I don't think that she's saying it. This is the Attorney General Pam Bondi for the sake of saying it. I think that after this opening statement, everything for her fell apart. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. And I should say that the same thing is true regarding the Democrats. That when you get to the actual hearing that took place in front of the House Judiciary hearing that took place today, I was going to say it took place in front of the House Judiciary. It's just called what it is, the House Judiciary hearing. It just got into the silly season. Everything was an attack. Everything was a screaming match. Everything was, you're terrible. No, you're terrible. No, you're a monster. No, you did this. Oh, your mother. I mean, it's just, this is Pam Bondi and Representative Ted Lieu.
Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files
I'm reclaiming my time.
be
I got your
released.
answer. You said there's no
President
evidence.
Trump asked
Chairman, please
I'd like
stop
to
the clock.
reclaim my
to
time.
Stop
sign
the clock.
the legislation.
Time-
This is
Time,
this is
I'd like to
ridiculous.
reclaim my
time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay.
If you're going to be the attorney general, you have to do it much better than that. We get it. The American left does not care at all or in any way about what happened to these girls. They only care about how they can go after Trump. We get it. We see them. And that's what you have to be telling. That's the story that you have to present. Look at who these people are. Not Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi can't figure out how to keep enough composure to be able to provide the story as is. This was Pam Bondi. I forget who asked this question. She's asked about how come nobody who was a client of Epstein has been indicted. That was the question.
The Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Stop thinking that she's good at this. Stop thinking that Democrats have any argument that involves actually caring about kids who were abused and these adult survivors today, and how we find the people who engage in this abuse and actually get them arrested. It's just out of control. If you ask Tony, how would you describe how she sounds like a teenage girl who's upset she didn't get tickets to see Taylor Swift. Tony, that's sexist. Honestly, kiss off. Don't care. It's how she sounds. She almost said the Dow was up over $50,000. That is someone who is flustered. That is not somebody who is in control of any argument. You show up in front of the House Judiciary Committee and you're ill-prepared? I do not believe that she's rightly upset. Or maybe said differently, let's say she is rightly upset. What does that matter to me? Handle yourself. You're not handling yourself. And it's just a mess. And there were moments in the opening, and I'll share the opening coming up, where I thought she hit something wrong, and then she hit something beautifully. It was composed. It was focused. It was like, yes, that's the way it works. But I don't want this to be all about Pam Bondi. You think these Democrats actually care? I don't think these Democrats care at all or in any way. It is, how do I attack Trump? How can I more attack Trump? Every day, let us attack Trump. We should be about everybody involved in the Epstein files who was actually connected to engaging in violence and attacks and being a sexual predator towards children. That's it. That's it. That's what we should be connected to. That's what we should be focused on, regardless of political party, regardless of last name, regardless of status, regardless of money. The end. This all Trump all the time thing says Democrats don't care about children being abused. And I want to make sure I'm clear about this. Democrats don't give a damn about children being abused. I've said this about Representative Ocasio-Cortez. Trump is president in the first term. There she is at the border. She's wearing all white. She's there by a fence and she's crying. The fence is nowhere near the border. You could walk right around the fence. There were no children in the area. It was a staged photo op from a staged person. The commie-loving Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Oh, please. You think I care what she says about me? Do you have any more dresses that you can borrow from people to go to Met Galas where you didn't buy the tickets and you were getting influenced? We see you. We see you. Did you spend any time fixing your abuela's apartment? Just curious. Curious if you cared at all about how she was dealing with things. Not a fan. Not a fan. She doesn't care about children. She goes and takes pictures. When Trump is in office, when Biden's in office, she doesn't take any pictures. So therefore, it was a photo op. I have said it before. I'll say it again. I'll say it now. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez does not give a damn about black or brown children. She doesn't care. She doesn't care now. She never cared before. She isn't going to care, in my view, in the future. She doesn't care what happens to brown children. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez doesn't care about anything except what kind of play she can make for the press to get her a couple more likes and a couple more donations. The end. This brings us to Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, who admitted in his testimony yesterday that he visited Jeffrey Epstein on his private island in 2012. Now, to understand Howard Lutnick and Cantor Fitzgerald, where he comes from, and the money, and what happened September 11th, where his office was murdered, but he wasn't there, and he lived. It's an insane story. But it has to be understood that Jeffrey Epstein had a lot of connections with a lot of people all over the place. After Jeffrey Epstein was released from prison in Florida, he was there in his New York townhouse at a dinner that was attended by, if I have it right, and just some of the names, George Stephanopoulos and Chelsea Handler. He had friends, he had relationships. He was seen as this huge money guy and all this philanthropic effort. It doesn't mean that any of those people knew what he was doing. Got to keep that in mind. But he was already in jail for some really salacious stuff, and you were still hanging out with him, and it's pretty weird. Howard Lutnick made the claim over the years that he didn't have any personal relationship with him. Lutnick said that he had searched his name through the files released by the Justice Department, and among the millions of pages found about 10 emails connecting him with Epstein over a 14-year period. And he said, I didn't look through the documents with any fear whatsoever because I know, my wife knows, that I've done absolutely nothing wrong in any possible regard. And he wrote, and he stated, I did not have any personal relationship with him. I'm sorry, I did not have any relationship with him. I barely had anything to do with that person, okay? Question mark. Okay. So that's what Lutnick said. Senator Van Hollen, who I find terrible, from Maryland, Senate Appropriations Committee, asked if Lutnick would share his own personal records related to Epstein. And Lutnick said yes. I would do that. I would absolutely do that. And then he was asked by Chris Van Hollen about this, what do you want to call it? This meeting, this chance encounter, this well-arranged meeting on Epstein's island.
I think you understand the root of concern here. It's the way you described very emphatically your first encounter with him in his apartment, said you were disgusted, would never have any contact with him again. Did you in fact make the visit to Jeffrey Epstein's private island?
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation. My wife was with me, as were my 4 children and nannies. I had another couple they were there as well with their children, and we had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour, and we left with all of my children, with my nannies and my wife, all together. We were on family vacation. We were not apart. To suggest there was anything untoward about that in 2012, I don't recall why we did it, but
Mr. Secretary, again.
I want to say for the record that there should be no accusation of anything untoward. The issue here is you were there. The issue is a timeline issue of when you were not engaged with him, claiming you were not engaged with him, claiming you didn't have connections to him, but on a family vacation, you stopped by. Now, again, I brought up Cantor Fitzgerald for a reason. The money is massive. He was either his yacht or they chartered a yacht. He's there with the family. Of course, there's nannies, and they docked up and they had some conch fritters together. Were you already telling people that you didn't want anything to do with him while you stopped by? You didn't want to have any public relationship with him, but you wanted to make sure you had some connection to him just in case? This, Howard Lutnick may not like it, but this absolutely goes to a conversation of character. And it goes to the kind of thing where it is certainly possible, and I'm willing to bet money probable, that you didn't engage in anything that we're discussing here, the abuse, the sexual abuse of children. I'm willing to say that out loud. I don't think he did that in the slightest. But were you telling people you had nothing to do with him while you went to go see him for lunch? You stopped? There are times when we're on a family vacation, my wife won't let us to pull over to use the bathroom because she wants to make the extra 30 miles. You stopped the yacht? Maybe you had more of a relationship than you're saying. Certainly, it's an argument that people can make. And I have absolutely no idea at this moment if he is going to survive in the Trump administration. Man, is it a bad look. A very bad look. Based on his own words. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Sorry, guys. Didn't mean for the microphone to be muted there. I apologize for you. I was saying that I'm going to get to the El Paso story, but I'm going to put it to the other side of the bottom of the hour break so I can give it some more time. And I was sharing about this story about the airport being shut down and then all of a sudden reopened. And everybody in my social media feed is like, yeah, I don't believe that story in the slightest. I think that's all a cover. The whole thing. It's just so great. It really is. It really, really is. So I've got that story, and many, many thanks to Speak and See. I appreciate the donation there. Thank you so very, very much. Do I have that? Wait, where'd it go? Where is it? Where'd it go? There it is. Thank you, man. That's super kind of you. Appreciate that. Appreciate the support. Absolutely. We're going to keep going. So you might have seen this from Boomer Esiason. I'm assuming, producer Landon, you did? About the jock tax? Oh, fantastic. And they asked me why I am not a progressive. Well, allow me to explain. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. The story is about Sam Darnold, the quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks, and of course, winning the Super Bowl. A guy who everybody, counted out. They gave up on, but he didn't give up on him. Actually, an incredibly inspirational story is Sam Darnold. And so what got noticed is that in California, they have what can be called the jock tax. And this jock tax, what happens here is that you get charged, right, taxed for playing in a professional sport in that state. So you play for the New York Jets, and you play the 49ers. You're getting taxed in California. So the Seahawks and the Patriots were taxed in California. It's assessed taxes on players based on the number of days they spend playing or practicing in a given jurisdiction. So according to the collective bargaining agreement of the NFL, if you win the Super Bowl, you get $178,000. If you lose, you get $103,000. So when you take a look at what happened with the taxes, you get a take-home pay on the winning side of approximately $86,000, and on the losing side, you get a take-home of $49,800. But when you take a look at what happened with Sam Darnold, what you come to realize is that because of the time he spent there, working there, the entire salary involved, he won $178,000, but he owes them $249,000. Now, it's a little bit of a manipulation because he has a salary and other things, and of course he got paid in other ways. But he owes California $250,000 for the pleasure of playing in California. I wouldn't play in California. There should be no Super Bowls in California. Are we all nuts? These Democrats really love your money. I'm Tony Katz. So that's the story. Or are they playing in LA? SoFi? It's just gross. Yeah, well, he essentially won a Super Bowl for free. No, I mean, he still has a pretty good paycheck. But They have no. I don't believe they should have any right to his money like this. It's absolutely abusive. In every single way, abusive. No question. I didn't see that. You can send it to me. I have not seen that. All right. I'm gonna get into the El Paso story next. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Okay. Just making sure I've got everything. It's weird. The markets are down a little, not major, but a little. You'd think that with those jobs numbers, people would be happier, but nope. Okay. Let's see. I've got this. Pam Bondi is just she's a mess. I'm saying a mess. That's all. Let me see where I have the El Paso story. There we go. Good, and good. Nope. All right, what do you guys got? Wait, who has a real attitude problem? Your mom? Listen. Your mom's lovely. No, she is. She's the best. Everybody says so. I might not have been talking to me. That's just so wrong. I apologize. Wait, maybe I apologize. I apologize. That's not right. But if a week goes by and we don't have a good mom joke, you know what I mean? Gotta have at least one. There we go. All right. How soon till we're back, producer Landon? Okay. There's nothing breaking right now. Always got to keep our eyes on that. Pam Bondi still going? You know what? I know. I don't even want to know. Oh, part 2 has begun? Nope. I want no part of it. But I mean, I'm going to share with you how she started because it's organized, it's prepared, it's so good. And then she has a point, actually, it's not perfect. And then she gets into stuff that's like right on, like well delivered, like do this. And then the whole thing just falls apart because the Democrats are ridiculous too. Anyway, back to the radio show. So this took place last night, but the story really broke this morning. A very strange story, which has since resolved, which has led to more of the story being strange. And if you follow me on the Twitter X at Tony Katz, you will see people saying, I don't believe any part of this at all. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. Then I'll have 3 more things to get to. But last night, El Paso, Texas, El Paso International Airport, which is, I think was it 4 miles from the border? Maybe it's a little bit more. The FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, halted all flights in and out of El Paso. Well, that's weird. It wasn't some issue with airlines or with the computers. No. The FAA ordered a total halt not only to flights in and out of the El Paso airport, but within 10 nautical miles of the airport. No commercial flights, no cargo flights, no aviation at all, which means no private planes, no training lessons, nothing. No aviation would also mean no drones. And the whole thing, as we learn more about it, they started by saying it was unspecified security reasons. Okay. Well, now I've got questions. You shut down airspace. What in the world has happened? Well, the mind could wander, and the mind did wander. Was this some level of terrorist threat? Was this about trying to prevent people? There may be a crime, and maybe preventing people from being able to leave the area. Was this terrorist related? Was this viral? Listen, were the people just got out of COVID? Were they trying to keep people from coming in or from leaving to keep a spread from happening? Or it could have been nothing. And I was discussing this in my morning show, like it could be all these things or nothing. So I'm not going to speculate. I don't know. We're going to get more information. We then learn less than 24 hours later that the FAA has lifted the flight restriction. The flight restriction itself, TFR, as it's called, would have allowed for the takedown of hostile aircraft by military force. Well, that's interesting. This is the first shutting down of airspace since September 11, 2001. It gets lifted this morning. It got lifted this morning. The Trump administration telling Fox News that it came in response to Mexican cartel drones that breached U.S. airspace. Thus, the FAA made the move to ground everything. This was supposed to last 10 days. Mexican cartel drones breached U.S. airspace. The Department of War took action to disable the drones. So what was happening there, I think it was Fort Bliss, military was saying is they could not guarantee commercial aircraft safety. They continued. The FAA and the Department of War have determined there is no threat to commercial travel. Now, if you follow me on Twitter X at Tony Katz, I posted about this, and you will find that the vast majority of people don't believe it at all. The shutdown went from 10 days to basically 12 hours. This was about Mexican drones. I'm not a conspiratorial guy. I'm a guy who is asking a different question. You telling me that the cartels can send drones to the United States, shut down airspace, and our answer is, oh, well? I don't like that answer, guys. I think that answer is ridiculous. I think that answer is madness. I think that answer is weak. And I'm not interested in weak answers. I put forth to you that if Mexico can't control the cartels, then the actions of the cartels are an act of war, and we should respond accordingly. Oh, great. There goes Tony. Now he wants to go to war, and he wants to send other people's kids into battle. I want to push the Mexican border back 10 miles and create a DMZ. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you not ready for this conversation? For all the people who like to cluck from the back row, now's your chance to engage. We should accept as the United States of America that we can be disrupted in our travel, or we can be put into a place of fear because a cartel is flying drones around. I think we should have dead cartel members by the thousands. I mean, listen, if you want to deal drugs in Mexico and sell drugs in Mexico and do your thing in Mexico, I don't live in Mexico. If that's what they're willing to accept, who am I to get in the way? But you want to disrupt someone from going to visit their grandpa? I think we should kick you directly in the face till you fall down and die. I don't understand what I said wrong. How is it possible that my position is wrong? I don't think they should be drug dealers. I think we should be helpful to Mexico in trying to deal with the problem. I think we've got a serious problem with drugs coming across the border, and I think that we've done a good job of working on it. We have to continue to do a better job of working on it. I think we're absolutely correct to take out the drug boats coming from Venezuela or anywhere else. You bring fentanyl, you should expect to learn how to speak with fish because you're about to sink. This is what I believe, that we are allowed to protect our nation, and we are allowed to say that our kids are more important than your kids if you're going to send drugs and ways to kill our kids towards our kids. Our kids matter more. But what in the world is this? With the cartels thinking they can send drones and somehow Mexico doesn't have to pay the price. Now, someone suggested in the chat room, they give up 5 miles, we give up 5 miles, we get a 10-mile gap. You fill it with mines and stuff. You're thinking of a DMZ like you would have between North Korea and South Korea. Allow me to say it differently. I'm not giving up anything because I'm not sending drones in to disrupt the air travel of Mexico. They're allowing it to happen to us. And I argue it's an act of war. So we take the 10 miles. Just take it. And then we raise every house and every apartment building and every farm and every development. And we make those 10 miles uninhabitable except for the roads that we patrol to ensure that the trade between two great countries can continue. But I'm not going to give the cartels a second to breathe. I don't give a damn about these people. And I'm fully aware that they could see this video and decide, okay, they're coming after me, but they can decide that about anybody, anytime. It's us or them. I choose us. I don't understand how anybody couldn't. And I don't understand the idea of somehow we're just supposed to take this and, oh, well, that's the way it is. What the hell is that? That's the way it is. Now, if I was really the kind of man I should be, we take 50 miles. But I'm a softie. We have a chat room on the live stream, and someone disagrees and thinks it's the stupidest idea. 10 miles, and then what? Another 10 miles? If that's what it takes. If they don't learn from the first 10 miles, if Mexico doesn't do something about the drug trade and the cartels going after American citizens, and they wrote, why not take 1,000 miles? Now we're talking. You see, you're more of a man than I am. 10 miles. What was I thinking? This guy wants to take 1,000 miles. That's the way it's done. That's how you do it. Now we're cooking with gas. I want the madness to stop. And I don't want Americans bothered. I want to be left alone. I have said this before, and it's kind of crude, but it's very, very true. All I want to do is eat a steak, smoke cigars, and have sex with my wife. And sometimes I'm not in the mood for a steak. That's all I want in this world. And I have got cartels sending drones into United States airspace and preventing people from traveling. So I can't get what I want. I find that to be offensive. I was promised life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and I'm not able to pursue my happiness because I've got cartel drones coming my way. So I got to do something about the drones, and I offered up a solution. Now I ask all the chattering freaks in the back row, what's your plan? Take the crap? Get abused? I think that's a ridiculous plan. I think that's a terrible plan. I don't think we should go with that plan. My plan is proactive, and it forces Mexico to handle their own damn business. Somebody tell Claudia to get the job done. But if you don't understand how this is a problem for all of us in the United States, that Americans do not get abused, that I am indeed a believer of Pax Americanus, that I 1,000% believe that what happens in El Paso happens in Tulsa, happens in Fargo, happens in Indianapolis, happens in Boston, happens to all of us. that if you allow cartels to do this once, what makes you think they won't do it again? I am tired of weakness, and I am tired of weak people, and I am tired of weak responses to groups that want to do us harm. So let's stop having them do us harm. All I'm doing is offering up an idea. It's a good one. Maybe someone has a better one. But taking this from cartels, that's the dumbest idea I ever heard. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz Today. Oh, the chat room, thank you for bringing untold delights to the show. I don't know, strength bothers some people, but maybe they've got a better idea. I look forward to hearing their idea. But if your idea is, forget about it. Good gosh. Anywho, I've got three more things to get to. Some interesting data that I will share with you right now. Three more things is stories that don't get the coverage, but need to. Really and truly need to. Where was this right here? There's that. I have another one. Don't I have? There's that. There's that. And there's that. Oh, and there's this. Got it. Got it. Excellent work. Excellent work. What else do we got? People are, it's funny if you follow things on Twitter X, all the people on the left will talk about how bad Bondi performed. All the people on the right will talk about how great Bondi was. And the truth is, in this hearing in front of the House Judiciary Committee, no one was great. That's the answer. No one was great. They all pretty much sucked. One or two moments of lucidness. Everything else was scumbaggery. That's the answer. Oh, I think Bondi looked ridiculous. I think Ted Lieu is ridiculous. Ted Lieu is a liar and a fraud. Jamie Raskin Jamie Raskin is somebody who gorged himself on the Harry Reid playbook. These people aren't respectable. They're not decent. They're not good. The whole thing was a clown show. On a serious subject, the whole thing was a clown show. Anyway, let's get back to the show. All right, we'll come back to radio in 10 seconds. So I've got three more things. These are stories that should be top-line stories that probably won't be, or at least I find them interesting. Credit card debt is now at $1.28 trillion, and that, kids, is a problem. $1.28 trillion. Eventually, people stop paying. $1.28 trillion tells us that people don't have the expendable cash, that they are surviving on credit. This is the ticking time bomb. And this is what leads people into this conversation regarding the K-curve and how you have some people who are growing great, right? The rich, they're going like this, but some people, they're really going at the slower pace, and some people are coming down, create this K look. But the jobs numbers today are unbelievable. They're things that the administration could crow about. Costs have come down on a great number of subjects, including gas. And we could take a look at credit card debt also as a trailing indicator, meaning people have been doing this, which Trump could easily attribute to the Biden administration, but you still have to deal with the reality that it's $1.28 trillion. And if people don't feel that the jobs are there, the dollars are there, the economy is there, eventually they say, it's somebody else's problem. It's a really big number and a really bad number, and one that has to be looked at. As for the latest on Nancy Guthrie, the missing mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie, a person was detained yesterday, questioned, then released. They released those photos yesterday, and people were agreeing with us, by the way. It does look like it's a woman, but then there's a moment that it looks like the person in the ski mask has a mustache. You're like, what is actually happening here? And then the neighbor's house was looked at and searched, and SWAT was out there. The neighbors were like, we didn't do anything. And then the person was detained, and they were like, they kept me for 2 hours before they read me my rights. I didn't know what was happening. Again, I tell you, a lot of these movements could be purposeful. As if, they're not giving us the full story, and it looks foolish. Like the whole thing looks awkward. Like they don't know what they're doing, and that could be a way to try and lure the kidnappers into a false sense of security. What if it isn't kidnappers? I'm not the first person to say, and producer Landon and I were discussing it during the break, that you ever see the movie Fargo? Is this that? Is that this? It's all very, very weird. And then there was some data that shows that if you take a look at the Super Bowl halftime show, people still upset about the whole Bad Bunny thing. Got to move on. But it shows a dip during the halftime. People tuned out during the halftime. There's a big crater there. But I do not know if this happens in every halftime show. What I do know is that when you have something like this, you could say, okay, maybe not everybody dug the halftime show. And this is someone's grandmother watching the halftime. It's unbelievable.
I'm like, who is this man? Gotta read. He can't sing. I mean, like, what is this? Golly. This is ridiculous. got the American flag and all these other flags. And yeah, God bless you too. Get off the stage. Please get off the stage.
It's so good. More is coming up. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Oh, spectacular. Spectacular stuff indeed. Guys, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you being a part of the show. We are back tomorrow at noon, so be sure to tune in then. Don't forget to subscribe. Appreciate all of you so very, very much. More radio show continues. Just go to WIBC.com for more radio show. And I'm looking forward to bringing that to you. Catch you guys at noon tomorrow. Be good now. Take care.